Today I want to talk about the 4 things that actually improve Etsy sales. These 4 things are SEO, well-researched designs, a grand slam offer within the listing, and a launch strategy. We'll break down every single one of these. And if you feel that there's one of these pillars lacking in your store, then you'll know what to focus on. If you're new here, my name is Andreas. I've done over $1 million in revenue as an Etsy print-on-demand seller from Sweden. In that same time frame, I've also done about $240,000 in revenue on Amazon Merch on Demand as a side gig from Etsy, which was my main hustle. So to start off, we'll talk about SEO, Search Engine Optimization. This is basically just the title and the tags. It's a really simple thing, and it should not be overcomplicated, but it's also really important because if we complicate this thing, it gets it can easily get wrong, and it makes everything else in the process just much harder. Let's say, for instance, that we have a flamingo shirt. If you sell a flamingo shirt, then the listing should say like flamingo shirt, flamingo t-shirt, not, for instance, bird shirt or like animal lover gift. Because if someone searches for animal lover gift, the likelihood of them actually wanting a specific flamingo shirt is very, very low. However, someone searching for a flamingo shirt and finding your flamingo shirt in search, the likelihood of them actually wanting your flamingo shirt is really, really high. It's that simple. So if you have a listing and you sell like flamingo shirts, for instance, make sure that it says flamingo shirt or flamingo t-shirt. Don't have it within the listing, don't have it say like animal lover gift or bird shirt, because if they search bird shirt or animal lover gift, the likelihood of them actually seeing your listing and wanting it is really, really low. So make sure that it's really, really targeted. You can have it say, for instance, flamingo shirt, flamingo t-shirt, flamingo lover gift. It needs to contain the word flamingo in order to be highly relevant to the actual product itself. Other words can just skew the whole thing. Now, the second thing about this in this whole equation is to have a well-researched product together with a well-researched design. So when it comes to this stuff, it's better to start off to know which product to actually sell. And the easiest way to actually do like product research these days is just to use Printify Insights. So if we just take a look here, these are current stats. I basically downloaded these from the 24th of November this year. So they're like 6 or 7 days old at this point, but really, really fresh data. I think you need like 20 sales or more to actually see this. But what this basically gives us is like information on what products are actually selling well on the Printify platform overall, which is really, really powerful because we can just follow this to actually know what sells. So the best way to do the product research now in 2025, honestly, is to use Printify Insights. That's the way that I do it, and it's worked really well for me. Now, when it comes to design research, how we do that is that we find different elements that works really well on their own. So if we just go to Etsy here, for instance, and just search for t-shirt, and then we go down to the bottom, and then we apply the physical items filter, and then the star seller filter, there it is. And then we go to the search bar and we swap out star for best. This way we only see the best sellers for the given keyword that we search for. So we're searching for t-shirt and we only see best sellers now in search here because we filtered it for all the best sellers. What we want to see here is basically common denominators within these listings to actually see what actually sells well. So let's see here. It's Christmas time now, Q4, so a lot of Christmas stuff will be here. So again, common denominators within listings is the thing to look for. So we can see, for instance, here that this one has a college vibe. I've talked about this a lot in my store. But there's a lot of retro stuff. So this one has a retro vibe. This one isn't college per se, but it has that kind of vibe, honestly. This Texas Warriors one. Let's see here. So this one has a retro vibe. This one also has kind of a retro vibe to it. This one is also like a college vibe. So college font vibe, so to speak. Also a retro vibe. So we'll just write up retro. We'll make a note that says best-selling elements and write up retro and college. So we try to find common denominators basically within design to see what actually sells well. And another part to this equation, another way to do design research really, really fast, to fast track this whole process, is to find really big shops and download their backend data using Everbee. So we look at this small number here. This is the review count. That's the easiest way to check this. So we'll go there and then we'll look at like this one here. You'd ideally want like 5 to 10 shops that you want to be like, that's been successful within like 2 to 3 years, and they should have the sales that you would want to have. Because if we just go into this one and look at this shop. They need to be successful within the last like 2 to 3 years. So we'll check analyze shop. It's starting 2021. So that's like 3, almost 4 years now. So this one, it might be a little old. Let's try this one instead. This one is 3 years old, done about 60,000 sales in that time frame. We'll divide that by 3 years. That's like 20,000 sales per year. We divide it up by month. That's like 1,700 sales per month. So if you would be happy getting like 1,700 sales per month, given the workload that actually also like entails, then this would be a great shop to like download their backend data from. So to do that, you basically, just like I did, you go to the shop, click analyze shop, and then you click export here, and then you get a CSV file with the backend data used from Everbee. But the key thing to note here is that you want like 5 to 10 shops of shops that you want to be like, that have been successful within the last 2 to 3 years and has the sales that you would want to have within that time frame. Then you would add all of these into an Excel sheet, and then so you would basically add these shops into an Excel sheet each, and then you would gather all of these Excel sheets and put them all in one. I go through everything of that in this video, so if you're curious about that, you can watch my niche research video right here. That's how I do niche research. But basically, to improve and to make sure that you have well-researched designs, this would be like a great way to fast track that, because you can just follow the list and go from top to bottom. All right, so now we go into the Grand Slam offer. This is basically the listing itself. The first thing that a listing should have now in 2025 is a guarantee. I've talked so much about this on the channel, but basically what a guarantee is an image within your listing that just says something like, if you're unhappy for any reason, you can contact us within like 7 to 14 days and get either a refund or a replacement. What this does is that it offsets a lot of the risk from the customer and puts it back on us, the sellers. It also increases conversion rate a lot. So a guarantee is something that's really important to have now in 2025, so that you can basically provide the most bang for your buck within the listing itself. Another really important thing on the listing level is to have the correct lead times. It's one of the absolutely like main variables to actually get sales, because if something arrives like in 4 weeks compared to 2 weeks, the 2 weeks one seems a lot better compared to the one that arrives in 4 weeks. And a super easy way to even like mitigate that, like if you haven't even started your shop, or if you're in the beginning, what I would do, like if I started like today in 2025, would basically be to like only sell shirts and sell them with the Printify Express delivery option. So if I just search for t-shirt here in Printify, there are 2 shirts that have express delivery options. It's the Gildan 5000 and the Vela 3001. I have sold a lot of these Bellas, so I would definitely go for the Bellas. The express delivery is that they don't guarantee it, honestly, but the customer is able to get a t-shirt within like 2 to 3 business days. Now, there can sometimes be some lags. I would recommend like around 5 business days to have if you're gonna offer it for your whole shop, so that the customer will definitely have it within like 5 business days. But that's a hugely important thing if you could offer that for the whole shop, because then you can say within the whole shop that you will receive your item within 5 business days. But if you're not doing that, then it's really important to be competitive when it comes to like lead times. The best way to do that, honestly, is to have the shortest lead time as possible. So if you have some sales, look at like the 20 to 30 like latest sales and see how fast have they actually been delivered, and take the average of that. So let's say that 2 orders here have been delivered within like 10 days. 2 orders here have been delivered within 15 days. Then you could probably like promise that the item will be delivered within 13 days. Because then you take the average of that and offer that within the listing. Another thing that I've seen so much when it comes to a lot of shops that has been a really big like learning curve for me, and that's having like great listing images. What great listing images in and of itself is images that display your whole offer, but with as little text as possible. So to show you, for instance, like if you have a guarantee, you should definitely like have, for instance, like I show you here, the guarantee should be like this long, for instance, as like this long at maximum, and then you should also like display the design on top of another mockup above it, or like beside it, wherever you prefer, because everyone is so visual. Like people barely even like look at the text itself, but so they need to grasp it really, really fast in order to actually understand what it is about. So making sure that you have as little text as possible is really, really important to actually like increase conversion rate within your listing, because people are really visual. They don't want to read anything. They just want to click, find something, read it fast, click purchase. So make sure to always have as little text as possible but still communicate your offer in a really, really like efficient way. Another important part about the listing itself is to have daily sales. Using daily sales in your shop is something that can really help increase urgency in the customer to make sure that they actually purchase now and not later. And the final part when it comes to the listing level is to offer a loss leader. Now, what is a loss leader? It's basically a variation that you have that's priced much cheaper than the other ones, and preferably at break-even cost. So you could have, like, for instance, the t-shirt in excess in pink or something like that, or like in orange. You can have that one variation, the excess in orange, that can be set to a break-even price, because Etsy displays the cheapest variation in search and then gives it a little plus sign after that to signify that it basically ranges from that price and upwards. So a loss leader is something that really increases click-through rate, because if they see that it's really cheap, it's more likely that they will actually click into the listing. And if they are still in the listing, that's one of the biggest battles to actually like overcome on Etsy, to make sure that they actually click the listing itself. Now, when it comes to loss leaders, I think it's really important to make sure that if you sell t-shirts, for instance, have a shirt that's actually a loss leader, to make sure that it's ethical. I think, like, if you sell, I saw some shop that, for instance, did like a digital file as their loss leader, and I think that seems a bit fishy. And if you don't have a lot of social proof, what that does is that it really offsets a lot of trust from the customer to you. So if you, for instance, sell a digital file for really, really cheap to increase conversion rate, it can seem pretty fishy, I think, from the customer's end to actually purchase from you. And I think at least for me, that would really offset me from purchasing from the store. And now the final part of this equation is the launch strategy. And the first thing that I want to go over, when you list something on Etsy, what I've found is that if you list it at a break-even price, then there's a much higher likelihood of them actually purchasing it in the beginning, which gives us some initial rank. And if we get that initial rank, we can get the momentum going for the listing and even sell more later on, even if we just raise the price. Now, what is a break-even price? Let's say, for instance, that we sell the Vela 3001 here. I mainly use Monster Digital for my shirts. Use them a lot, they're great. And then we just go into here. Let's see here, we'll take this one. Go to the calculator. Okay, there we go. Now, I live in Sweden, so this isn't my native currency, which is Swedish kroner. But I will convert this to dollars to make it easy. This is in dollars, by the way. I think, yes, exactly. So the Vela 3001 costs 9.13 plus shipping. Shipping is 4.75. Let's say that we do what I mentioned at the beginning. Like we said, that we have a whole shop just selling express items. Then it's actually this 7.99 plus 9.13, 17.12. So the cost here basically is 17.12. But we want to make sure to do when we list something at break-even price is that we want to have a $2 to $4 margin. So this could be, for instance, $21. This is actually too low, so let's do 22. Yeah, $22 could be a good price, for instance, because we want to have some margin to just cover any errors or stuff like that within our listings. So when we list the item, if we have a whole shop within that offers just t-shirts and all of them are with the express delivery, then I think it's really important to list it at this price, because then we can get some initial rank in the beginning for the listing itself. Now, the most important thing to know is that when the listing has sold either 10 to 15 times or gained a 50% visibility score on Everbee, I'll touch more on that later, that's when we will up it to profit pricing, and that's a 30 to 40% margin. Now, remember that we can offer this with guaranteed, for instance, that they will get it within 5 business days, since we're using express delivery. So that means that we can charge more for it, because usually that's more valuable to the customer itself. So let's say that we offer this as $29 or even $30. Yeah, 29 or maybe $30. So we're still within the 30 to 40% gross margin range. So that within that range basically. So I would offer this at either about $30, and we'll earn about a net profit of 9.56. But it's really important to keep this within around the 30 to 40% range, maybe at lowest $29. But basically, when it's reached 10 to 15 sales or a 50% visibility score, we would bump the price up to profit pricing, which would be either $29 or $30. Now, if we go into this listing here, we can see this visibility score here. So sometimes I've just noticed that even if something has sold like 10 to 15 times, the visibility score can be really low. But also, on the contrary, if something has sold like 6 times or 7 times, the visibility score can be like 60%. So it's all a bit nuanced, and I just found that if the listing has sold either 10 to 15 times or gained a 50% visibility score here on Everbee, that's when we'll bump it up to profit pricing, because then it's achieved the initial rank it's needed to gain momentum to still thrive on the platform. Etsy ads is quite a big thing to understand, so I won't be able to go through all of the nitty-gritty in this video, but the gist is basically to put just Etsy ads on. Since it's just a toggle on Etsy, just press the button, like list this item with Etsy ads on. You put your new listing on with ads and let it spend $10. After it has spent $10, if it has achieved its break-even ROAS, then you basically leave it on. If it hasn't achieved your break-even ROAS, then you just turn it off and just list the next item and see if once it has been listed with ads, if after $10, has it achieved like a break-even ROAS or has it not? If it hasn't, then just turn it off and go to the next. If it has, just leave it on. That's the gist of it. But Etsy ads can be a big thing to overcome, and it's a big thing to just understand of it all. So if you're curious about how Etsy ads work and you want to learn more about that, you can watch a whole video about this here, since I won't be able to go through that into this video. But Etsy ads is the last piece of the equation to actually make this work. So it's a really important thing to actually have in your store, at least to gain some initial rank for your listing itself. But you can watch more about that in that video. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.